So a little follow-up on my video about dyspraxia and a bunch of other things to talk about strange ways that it can affect people that you might not think of, especially more people that are sensory seeking like me, that like to be stimulated a lot. So one of them, first one is that a lot of us have odd speech or have speech delays or speech problems or speech disorders, whatever you want to call it, and it comes in many problems. The reason why is, well, we can't move our mouth the same. We can't move our motor skills the same, and we have less senses, so our speech develops a little bit weird. I used to have something called a lazy mouth, and I used to barely move my mouth at all. They had to really force me to move my mouth at all, and I still have to struggle. But when I'm really tired, my mouth just goes, and I start mumbling more. That's a common one. Another common one that people do not always talk about is we bump into things a lot, or we don't, and that sometimes can cause even fear of like stuff being tightly packed together. So when you have like desks arranged or anything, just make sure that the desks or chairs are spread more apart than you think they have to, and there's more space if you want to be really accommodating. So I don't bump in, and we might also look very clumsy and disorganized, and all these other things like that. It really does help to have more space. But also don't stare if you see someone acting a little clumsy or anything at it. Oftentimes, and these are all oftentimes, not always, dysgraphia. So dysgraphia is something that means you have trouble writing. So my handwriting can be very atrocious at times. And it also means that sometimes I mistype buttons on keyboards a lot. I also have dyslexia and other things that affect that. But oftentimes the typing and stuff and handwriting can be really bad. Another thing that oftentimes is with sensory seekers like me that do not feel their body as much or sense the body as much, we oftentimes have strange ways of walking, and also sometimes sensory non-seekers. But I walk on the sides of my feet, so I walk with my feet almost like this oftentimes, and I used to do that whenever I was standing still, especially instead of flat on the ground. I also sometimes walk on my heels, toes. Sometimes I switch it up. I liked walking on uneven terrain, and I hated sidewalks, and I would do other things even more extreme when I'm standing still, because I don't feel my legs as much as a normal person, so they don't feel like they exist almost, and that can be a little weird. So I walk in ways that I increase the feeling by increasing the pressure or the stimulus, or even sometimes the pain sensation if it's really not feeling anything. It's also gives me, also I'm really like having some senses going in my mind, music, noise, not too much, but I need constant input and stimuli, and by walking in weird ways I feel it more. There's also people that aren't sensory seeking, that also with dyspraxia that might walk in weird ways because they do not sense the body as much, so they may have developed other ways to compensate for that, and this gait can be very noticeable. I wear loose shoes and worn down shoes to make it less noticeable. I also sometimes walk not in a straight line for similar reasons. Other things, we can appear very clumsy. It can take us a lot longer to learn simple tasks. And when we have all that, a lot of people judge us to look less smart, or look like we know less what we're doing. This is horrible, but it oftentimes happens. And I've been judged for my speech disorder. I have had people all my life try to guess how I talk, and they think I'm trying to mimic some accent, or I have some foreign accent. I have had people think that I don't know English. I've had also people that look at my writing and just don't look at what I'm saying, just look at and see that I by mistake made some typos or I'm taking long. But I've had people look at me not being able to do simple tasks and think that I'm stupid because I mess up pouring something in the beaker, or I mess up jump roping. I used to hurt myself all the time when they forced us to jump rope in gym because I would hit myself. I one time even fully face slammed the ground because somehow I tripped away and pulled the whole thing to face slam myself. And they always does that to make you think you're less smart, or they infantilize like you're not a grown up. Don't judge someone by their struggle. They could be really smart, they just struggle moving. But it doesn't also mean, and even not intelligence, just don't treat them like a baby. Other things that might come with it is this is not only thing, but I break things a lot because I am rough with them and do not understand how to be gentle, or I hit them by mistake or something like that, or I misuse them. So I tend to break things a lot more, which can be expensive. I also can't always do simple tasks, so I have to throw money at it and use other people's help, which means living a lot more expensive lifestyle. So all this stuff means that I have many struggles that you might not notice, that a normal person might not notice, and these are things to be aware of. Now, not all people with these things have that. It's totally true. So, mostly I'm talking about myself. Thank you very much. And please subscribe and like and leave a comment behind. It really helps the channel behind. And if you're really kind, please share it. Thank you very much.